Okay, we are live, and I'm very excited to have joining me in this live stream session, Marisa Punshon. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Sue.
Thank you. So we met through Collab Circle. I'm going to say earlier this year, or was it actually last year?
I think it was last year. Were you there for the first table?
No, I might have missed the first one, but yeah. But we met quite some time ago now.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it has. So it's been great to slowly get to know you, and a big shout out to Jemima Ashley and Kate Hulsman, who are the founders of Collab Circle and are creating a really great network environment for people to come together. So
sure.
Yeah, they are indeed. So to introduce this live stream series, I am your host, Sue Matheson, CEO Catalyst, and I'm also certified integrity game coach and mentor. And we have Marisa, who is a money coach for business owners, and I'm going to share a little bit that I know about what you've done in the past, which includes you've provided support and strategies in financial literacy, money mindset, cash flow management to various organisations, which include Oz Mumpreneur and the Entourage. You've been a director of finance for Pascoe Vale Football Club, and for quite some time now, you're money coach. So I'll pop that up again, actually. Money coach, helping business owners increase their profit and unlock cash flow. So is there anything else that you would want to add to that? Is there anything I've missed that you would want people to know professionally what you've done?
Professionally? No, I think you've just about covered it. What I generally say also when I talk about what I do is the whole purpose of it is so people can live life on their own terms.
Yep. Yeah. Sounds good. And then what might be something that you would feel happy to share with people that might be watching live here now or watching a recording later that they won't find about you on social media?
That's a really interesting question, Sue, particularly as I just contributed a chapter in a book.
Okay.
I did to Impact. And so there was a group of business owners that we all got together and we wrote about how we started our businesses, what was the idea, what was the reason behind it, and then what impact has our business made to other people. Now, what I found interesting is when I wrote my chapter, it brought up a lot of things about why I do what I do, and it was actually quite raw. So, and it's an area that I really haven't shared with many people. I have a few, but not. I have a little bit in social media, but not a lot. So, that's probably what I'd say, that there are little things about why I run my business that I'm beginning to now tell people that I didn't talk about previously because I had probably a bit of confusion around it.
Okay. Yeah. But obviously now you're feeling confident to sort of share those reasons, and I would guess that they're very much the platform that you've built a lot of what you do from. Yeah. So
absolutely, they're the anchor, they're the navigator, the compass, the reason why I do what I do is actually the seed to it was when I was 11 years old, and then my journey from that point onwards. So I've always known, but I've never really told people why I do what I do. And it's what happened to me when I was 11 and then how my life unfolded after then.
Okay. Yeah. And I suspect that some of your story might even come out as we go through the questions that I want to address, and to give context to where this conversation fits into the broader series that I've been following. I wanted to just pop up the framework, which is called the Integrity Game. And through the live stream series, I've essentially been having conversations around each of one of the points on this model where we actually play the integrity game. And through that process, have been asking the questions that I believe really help business owners and CEOs to build that integrity and resilience into their personal lives, but also their organizations that they're responsible for. And the question that we're addressing in this session is right down the very bottom, the last one, where we're around giving and serving. And if I, from a business strategy point of view, looking at what causes and people are you in service to? And where through the conversation and through some other questions, what I'm looking to achieve in this conversation is that we start to break down why this is important. And that's where we'll start. But the break down this whole issue of who are we in service to and why is that important. So let's start there. From your perspective, Marisa, why do you believe that giving and serving or being in service is important?
I've actually been thinking about that for a few days. And just taking a different perspective, we as humans have served all our lives. So not only I think as we get stuck into as business owners, we actually, serving our customers or whether we work in a charity, then, serving the people that would be impacted by the work we do in a charity, for example. But also as a person, like we serve our friends, we serve our family. I know as a mother that, serving my children.
Yes.
There's so many areas in our lives where we serve. And I think the problems that lie in relationships are when we're not serving, when that service stops.
Yeah. And when that happens, are there any examples that come to mind of what might be the issues that come out of that when we stop serving?
One of the issues could be, breakdown of relationships. But we also have to serve coming from a full glass. So if we're empty ourselves, and I know this, as a mother and a business owner, when you're empty and you're drained and you feel like you're just serving and serving and serving, it is really difficult to continue serving. And then we've got to stop and serve ourselves and fill ourselves up. So that's one perspective of it. And the other perspective is if you are just interested in serving yourself and not other people, then that's where you can cause harm to that other person, or you might lose that other person in your life because they'll think, well, they're not interested in me. They're only interested in what they can get from the relationship.
Yeah. And do you think even that getting caught up in just serving ourselves ultimately is harming ourselves as well?
I think so. So it's finding that balance. It's finding a balance. And what I hear a lot of women saying is that they're exhausted because they're just giving and giving and giving. In other words, i.e., they're serving, and they need something back for themselves. But sometimes we are not taught to put ourselves first. So it is fine, as I said before, it's finding that balance of putting ourselves first, filling up our own cups, putting our own oxygen masks on, so then we have the ability to serve others. And then the other end of the scale is that we are constantly filling ourselves up and then taking the energy from other people in order to do that.
Yeah, and maybe that's the key, is that when a person becomes so self-absorbed in serving themselves, that's the negative. It's pulling that energy from others to achieve that.
Yes. So if we can find ways to get energy that is not taken from other people, so whether that's via having downtime or meditating or doing breath work or for me, my biggest thing is actually exercising. So that's my mental health. I feel like I'm serving myself when I go and do my Pilates. So it's finding another way of doing it, because you look at.
Can we just park that part of what you're talking about, because we might come back to that further down when we actually start to look for solutions where people do want to tap in more effectively to serving themselves and filling their cup. Is that okay? Can we pin that there? And
not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. And the one thing I was going to say, Sue, is I think what's happening in the world at the moment is a really obvious service of individuals to themselves as opposed to others. With the politics, the wars, everything that's happening, it's just certain people that are looking at their own service as opposed to people in power that are supposed to be in power to serve their people and their countries and the world as human beings. Yet they're not. They're just serving themselves.
And we're definitely seeing the negative impacts of that. So if we were to come back to this question of why is service important, would it be reasonable from what we've talked about so far is it's finding the balance and recognizing that service is both to ourselves and to others, and what's important in that is finding the balance between the two, so that there's synergy, there's when you were talking about, making sure that we're serving from a full cup, so it's having that ability to maintain serving others because we've found that balance. Would that be fair? Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Awesome. So then from that, what do you think prevents people from finding that balance or being willing to engage in a service mindset where they're actually serving from their own potential and that full cup? What do you think gets in the way of people?
There could be a number of factors that get in the way. The first one that I think about is that if we're not brought up to serve ourselves, but we're brought up to serve others. And therefore, whenever we serve ourselves, we feel guilty, and so we stop doing it. And then we see our worth defined by what a good daughter or sister or friend or neighbour we might be.
Yeah. Yeah. And oh my goodness, I can so relate to that because I feel like that was what I would call a story that I grew up with, is that you you give out, you serve others, and that sense of guilt was so real. And it's something that in latter years I've really had to address and to unpack that story and go, no, it's, and I think when you were talking before about the importance of serving ourselves first, I think the other story that came with that was that selfish to do
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
again,
Yes.
it was, I had to let go of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Being the good
how
girl.
much, yeah, being a good girl. Exactly. I love it. So
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's it's generational? I mean, I think we're similar ages.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Do
absolutely.
you think that's shifted though for particularly women of younger generations, or not really?
I hope so. I think it is. I look at my daughter's 24. She was she was challenging when she was growing up, and I was very adamant to not squash her spirit. I wanted her to grow up to be a strong, spirited, self-confident young woman, which she has. But gee, it was hard. The bad times, it's like, oh, you can be like that with everyone else, but not with me. So I think, and I've, with friends that have young women as well, children, girls.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we have planted a seed in the next generation of probably of worthiness.
Yeah.
In the next generation of women that are the young adults that are growing up, that I never had, or I don't know, that most people our age didn't have when we were growing up. We were, told to be, seen or not heard, or if we challenged our parents, and we'd just, I'd get the wooden spoon, or I didn't have an opportunity to challenge my parents. So,
Yeah.
yes, I made a conscious decision to allow my daughter to grow up being very strong-willed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a positive there. And again, my daughter's about to, should be nearly 27. So again, similar ages. Do you think there's a flip side? Because yes, I would say my daughter's so much more independent. Her own mind hasn't got caught up in that story that I certainly got caught up with. But I also wonder if there's a little bit of a shift the other way, maybe too much. I don't know, of that, finding that balance then of in it for themselves. It's what about me? I'm not sure. What's your experience been?
Oh, not so much with her.
Yeah.
I did worry a little bit when she was growing up, because I thought at one point that no, she'd go right off the rails, which she nearly did, but it was okay. We sorted that out. So I was worried that would happen, but she's grown up to be a beautiful, caring person. However, I can see that there are a lot of people in the younger generation, probably above her, like the children that grew up in the 80s. Because interestingly, and I saw this in the 80s, I think that's where it started changing, and where parenting started. It's shifted from children should be seen but not heard to children should be heard. And maybe the pendulum went too far back in the 80s. And I don't know, like I do know that people, it's a really hard one. It is a hard one. And Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that
So
we
let's hold that thought then,
yeah,
and so I think we agree that certainly for many of us as women, it was that feeling guilty, um, felt that we had to be the good girl that
mhm,
prevented us from
mhm,
taking action, from embracing that service mindset. Um,
yeah,
so and yeah, we really feel that that shifted for the later generations. So
mhm.
what do you, and this, I'm going to take it from a personal aspect and then maybe shift a little bit into business too, but from a personal point of view, what do you recommend for people that are listening, can see that they've maybe grown up with the stories that we've grown up with, they've to some extent shifted out of that, but want to embrace that sense of serving themselves more initially so that they can have that full cup? What are some of the things that they can do that you would recommend?
I think learn to love themselves more and see their worthiness.
Yep.
Look at the stories they were told as children and really challenge them. Like, is it true? Is it true? If you were told that you were too, uh, you spoke too much and that wasn't good,
Hmm.
is that true?
Hmm.
Is it really not good? Or is that just the way you are and the way you were born? And how has that then served you? Are you now a good speaker, or you're good at communication? So looking at the areas that were seen as a negative and challenging them
Yep. Yep.
through a
Yeah.
different
Challenge the negative.
mm,
Yeah, go on. Sorry, keep going.
mm,
Yeah, I'm
and
just saying challenge the negatives. Yeah.
that's the one thing I do with my clients, where particularly around money mindset, I ask the question, well, is it true? How can you prove it? Where's the proof it's true that you're not meant to be wealthy, or that all wealthy people are evil, or that you've got to work really hard to make money? Like, where's the proof? Or is it just something that you've learned as a child, something you've heard,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
not good enough to ever have money, or I'm not good enough to succeed? Well, where's the proof for that?
Yeah. Yeah. So is there anything else that you would recommend?
I think making the choice that you want to live life differently.
Yep.
You don't want to be bound by the old constraints of what your old story, the old, where has it got you? Is it giving you the life that you want to lead? If it's not, then making a conscious decision to change it. And whether that's by having therapy, reading books, podcasts, meditating, all sorts of different things, but making that choice that you want things to be different, because how you were is not serving you to live the life that you want to live. And loving
Yeah.
yourself with everything, not saying, well, you know what, that's how I was brought up, or that's how life was dished out, and it is what it is, it was what it was, but it doesn't have to be like that for the rest of your life. And that was a big one for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So was there anything in particular that helped you to address that for yourself?
I made the decision to make a change, and that's when I threw myself into self-development.
Yeah.
And I had, therapy, all the things that I said before. I had therapy, I read the books, I went to workshops, I went to retreats, I, danced around fires under the full moon like I did. I get stuck around many fish. But I chose to be with people that lifted me up. I'd chosen a spiritual path. I just threw myself into it because I knew that the way I felt about myself was not going to help me lead the life that I wanted to lead.
Yeah. I love that you've been able to make that transition yourself. And if I just want to bring the model back up again, because I want to tie this in. If we've got it sort of as a up and down model here, but if we twisted it into more of a circular model and made it 3D, the giving and serving part we'd integrate back in with purpose. And I'd probably even use the top 3 points there. What our purpose is, what we're good at, so our gifts and our potential. From your experience and the shifts, some of the shifts that you've made, how much has that played a part in terms of enhancing serving yourself, but also then being able to serve others by integrating your purpose and what you're good at into that?
It's made a huge difference. A huge difference. I wouldn't be doing, what I do now if I wasn't able to learn the beauty of serving others as well as serving myself.
Is there a story that you can share that is an example of that?
That's interesting. I've got lots of stories. Where do I start? Okay, so years and years ago, I had my star charts done. And two things came up, and this was when I was a teenager or late teen, and it said that I'd be working in math. Whatever I did would involve maths, and secondly, I would be a healer.
Okay.
So, and I thought, how does that work? Now, I did history, literature, English during at school, and then I went on to uni and I did the same. I studied literature and I studied history and anthropology. No maths at all. I left year 10, I just dropped maths completely.
Yeah.
And also being a healer, I thought, well, how does that work? Now, what I do is I heal people now. I heal their money mindset. I heal their not their business finances. I heal their business finances as well. And it has to do with maths. So I had no idea it was in my stars.
Yeah.
It was written in my stars. And I remember laughing, thinking, maths, there's no way. No way.
Yeah.
And feeling like, I don't know how I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I felt like myself, that how would I felt like I needed so much healing myself, let alone me healing other people.
Yeah. So what did take you then, aside from having that information given to you, but going from an arts history type of background into accounting and finance? Was there a trigger, something, how did that journey eventuate?
Yes. Okay. So I was at uni and I was working part-time and in a country club, and start again. I was at uni. I was working part-time in a like a food court, and the boss of that owned a country club.
Okay.
With another group of people. So he asked me to go and work at the country club where he had a bookkeeper who was going to live over in where was she from? She was from Norway. So she was going to take her daughter and they were going to go and live in Norway for 6 months, and they needed someone to take over their books. Now, I don't know why he chose me, but he chose me and he asked me, he said, would you like to do it? Would you like to train Okay. So I went over and I started working in the country club, and I got taught how to do the bookkeeping, which involved, so there were no computers at that point. So we actually had, it was all done with paper, with cards, with books, pens, and well, not even pens, it was like pencils. So very old fashioned. Very old fashioned. And I actually liked it. And the bookkeeper didn't come back. She decided to live overseas. And so then he had another restaurant in the city, and he asked me to go and work over there. So then I managed the finances over there. So I just fell into it that way, which was really bizarre, but that's just how I fell into it. I never, ever, ever thought that I'd be doing the books. And that's how my journey started.
Yeah. So how did, I mean, you obviously have a love of numbers, of helping business owners to get their money mindset right, and obviously transform the outcomes for their organizations as a result of that. How did that come, like that passion? Was it just a gradual growth, or was there some instances that just lit you up?
Personal development and spirituality have always been an important part of my life. So I actually went to uni and started doing accounting, and then I thought I could not sit in a cubicle doing people's tax returns. I just couldn't do it. I had to do something that was more healing and just different, more transformative than a tax return. So I saw when I was working, so we've got there's a big gap. I was doing the books at the country club, then I moved to the restaurant. And then in between then I had children, and I did when the kids were little, I went back to school at night to do accounting. And then I saw that a lot of business owners were struggling with their numbers. They didn't understand their numbers, because I was doing some bookkeeping freelance, and their money mindset was not good. So they could have made a lot of money, but then they'd spend a lot of money, or and I thought this is really interesting. And that's when I saw the correlation between how you can make lots of money but still be really poor or still struggle. And a lot of it is to do with your mindset. So then I looked at what I could do. At that point, the only thing that would be similar to working with people and their mindset, I couldn't see anything in Australia at that point it was life coaching, really. But there was something over in the States run by a woman called Mary Morrissey, who she ran what's called a Dream Builder program. And what I loved about that was it's about mindset and energy, but taking action as well. And I thought this is great, because I can show people what their numbers mean and how to do the budgeting and forecasting, but then I can look at the other side, the mindset side and the spiritual side as well, about your energy and how you come out in the world and what you attract in your life. So I did her Dream Builder coaching program that went for a year, and then I went over to the States to finish it off. And that was my way of then having the tools to do the mindset side of the numbers.
And what I love about all that you shared is that every little bit of it is an example of you serving others, but doing that through your skill set, what you're good at, what you're passionate about. I would say the values that underpin who you are and how you show up. And so in addressing this whole question around being in service to people, is it comes out of the combination of all of those elements.
It does. And with the Dream Builder program, I do it myself once a year. and I know, I feel it. I think I need to get back on track again myself. So I'll sit down and I will do the program myself. And then I feel, and that's my way of serving me, is by doing that. Because then I go through it, I do the exercises, and there is a shift and just a lightness. So I know it works.
Yeah.
My go-to as well.
Very good. Very good. And is there anything like when you're, because you are serving others out of your potential and out of your skill set, do you think that makes a difference in terms of your momentum and ability to keep going versus someone who isn't as self-aware and is almost doing something just because they feel they have to and are lacking that self-awareness? How much of that do you think plays a part in serving well?
It plays a big part, because if you're serving and you're doing it because you don't want to do it, you feel like you have to do it, it shows, and it will drain you, and then you'll get to a point where you can't continue doing it anymore. I know that what I do, I'm drawn to do what I do. It's almost a destiny for me. It feels good. It feels right. And I don't have a date at which I'm going to stop doing it. I have a date in which I'll stop possibly doing it how I do it now, which is through coaching. And I might then, go and do voluntary work, or there'll be another form, but I'll be doing it forever because I feel like that's what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and there's an energy that comes from that for yourself?
There is. It's that, when you know something is right and you can't explain why, but you just know that you're on the right track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I love that. So if someone, okay, so they've been listening to you, they might come back and watch the recording and go, yeah, okay, I get that shift, I get that importance of more self-awareness. Is there anything else that you would recommend aside from that serving self first, to have that full cup?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you would suggest to help them shift that mindset? Any other either activities or learning or education that you would recommend?
By connecting with people, the right people, having the right people around you is a big one. Being very conscious.
And how do we decide that? How do we decide who are the right people?
Who are the right people? I think you just know who the right people are. They're the people that bring you up. They're the people that support you, encourage you. They're the right people. So if you're surrounding yourself with people that are telling you that, who do you think you are, and you think you're better than us because you're going and doing this, or you've made X amount of money, or people that bring you down. And you know what? Sometimes there could be people that bring you down that you can't really avoid, but you can minimize your time you spend with them.
Yeah.
And spending more time with people that do bring you up, and you bring them up as well. So that's one thing. And I made a conscious choice to be affiliated with people that I really like spending time with. And as a result, a lot of people that I do business with, I feel, that have become friends.
Yeah.
Because they're just great people, and you do business with them as well as have, good time with them. So that's one thing. Also, as I said before, what is finding some sort of self-care activity. For me, it's my Inferno Pilates, which is my not negotiable. Okay. And that's where, and I do it in a hot room. I sometimes I think I hope they know CPR here because I don't know whether I'm going to make it to the end.
I've not heard of Inferno Pilates before, I have to say.
What you do is you go into a room and it is a sauna, it is a hot room. You know, Bikram yoga? It's the same room as a Bikram yoga, except you're doing mountain climbers and burpees and all the rest of it towards the end. But beforehand, you do a lot of planking and stomach exercises. So, but by the end, you're sitting there and you're like red in the face and you're panting and you walk out completely drenched. And it's like, so much better now. So that's my, I let it all out there, and it doesn't matter. You can you can make whatever noises you like.
Yeah.
So that's my self-care. I love my animals. I love my dogs. My dogs fill me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's finding the things that you just love. I love spending time with my kids.
Yeah. And then out of that, you're able to, well, not only out of that, I think that one of the keys is it's that plus the fact that you are operating out of your gifting, out of your potential, and that just is paramount to being able to serve. And
it is. And don't get me wrong, there are times where I really struggle. And I think I really struggled when my kids were little, and particularly when I had my first baby, because my mum died when I was quite young, and when I had my first, I missed her so much, and I didn't have any help, and I was the first one out of my friends that I grew up with that had a baby. So no one else really got it.
Right.
And I found it really hard because I had to serve him 24/7.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted, and my husband worked long hours, and I felt like I was doing it by myself, and I was exhausted. I was not serving myself. I was serving my baby, yet I felt guilty because I didn't want to serve him. I wanted to be looked after, but I had to look after him. And I found that really, really tough. And then by the time I had my daughter 3 years later, I'd actually created friendships with people from the mums group. We'd moved, and I had a neighbour that had almost become like my mum and the surrogate grandma to my children. So I had someone who did look after me. But with Connor, my first, I was completely empty, and I had to serve. I had no choice but to serve on a really empty tank.
Yeah.
And I wanted my mum to mother me, and she couldn't. She wasn't around.
Yeah. So very much through that space, I would say a sense of just survival.
It was just survival, and a lot of tears. A lot of tears. I just cried a lot, really. And look, you know what? I did the best I could.
Absolutely. But I would say that experience has given you, as you work with clients, as you work through people's money mindset and some of those stories that they're telling themselves, you're bringing that understanding, and out of your adversity, you're bringing a strength too that you're able to share with others. And through that and the service that you give to others, what comes back to you as you serve your clients? What is there anything that you feel comes back to you?
A sense of I was going to say pride. Maybe I can't think of another word but pride. I just feel good. You know, two things come back to me. Money comes to me, and this is what I learned years ago, that you don't do what you're doing just for money. You do what you're doing to serve and to transform other people's lives, and as a result, you get paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's two things. I'm doing what I love doing. I'm transforming people's lives. I'm that person. You know what? And this is funny. This is just, I've just thought about this. I'm that person that I wish I had when I was a teenager and when I was a mum, a first-time mum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So what, in recognizing that, how does that make you feel now?
It puts a reason behind why my life was the way it was.
Yeah.
And that's once again, as I said previously, where I felt, you know, that it was in my stars with working with maths and being a healer, and knowing in myself, in my own energy in myself, that what I'm doing is the right thing. It's the same. I went through what I went through, so then I could be the person that I am now, that could do the things that I do. So the universe has a way of just sorting us all out.
And bringing it all together. Yeah.
Bringing it all together, like saying, right, you think you're going to be there, but I'm going to pop you over here. Like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're making a difference. You're changing people's lives. You're giving them a better outcome, and
Exactly.
Helping them.
Yeah, and particularly women. I'm very, very passionate about helping women, empowering women, and you know, growing up in the 70s, where, you know, it was women were very different to how they are now. Like back in the 70s, women were really, I mean, my mum was she was an entrepreneur, and she was the only woman I knew, only mum that had their own business, that was her own business, not that she did with a partner or anyone else. It was just hers. But most other mums were house mums and did what their husbands told them to do, and it was, you know, it was different. You know, a woman could have a black eye and no one would. Everyone was like, don't see it, not looking.
Yeah.
So for me, I think if I can help women become more empowered, which I do through financial education, then that gives them the opportunity to live life on their own terms and not rely on someone else to do that.
Yeah. 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 Marisa, I have absolutely loved the conversation, where we've gone from serving, and I must admit, I did not expect to be going down this avenue, but I've loved it, looking at serving ourselves first, and really breaking down the stories that we've grown up with. Finding that balance, getting away from how we define ourselves in a negative way, getting away from those guilt feelings, challenging those negatives, and making the choice to live life differently. And I love how you've been able to share your experience of bringing math and being a healer into your money mindset program. So I love it. I love the conversation that we've had. I've put up there your money coach for business owners, but how else, if people are listening, they've heard you share in this session and would like to reach out and talk further with you, what is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Well, there's a number of ways they can get in contact. They can go onto my website. Will you have show notes when you put something down with my website?
I can. So I've got your email, but if you give me your website, I can pop that up.
Yeah. So it's www.marisapunshon.com.au. So it's just my name, really.
Yeah, that's all right. We can.
Or they can contact me, direct message me through LinkedIn as well.
Yeah. So let's hang on. Hide that, and we can. So that's your website.
Yes,
Yeah.
and my LinkedIn handle is just Marisa Punshon.
Yeah.
So contact me either way. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Before we close out with any final comments, what have you enjoyed most about the conversation that we've had?
I've enjoyed how very similar to what you said before, how we've touched on many things, which is great because, as I said before, the last thing I wanted to be doing was to prepare people's tax returns.
Yeah.
I wanted to do more, and what we've done is, we've provided people with a discussion that's gone into many different areas. And we're all multifaceted, aren't we? Like we're not just that. Sometimes you only see one or two sides of people, but we're all really deep with interesting backgrounds. And just something I wanted to say, there's a TV show, I think it's on SBS. I don't know whether it's on anymore, but someone with a microphone would walk up to someone in the street and ask them just questions about their lives. And they would just pick someone just willy-nilly. And they'd ask these questions, and these people would have had the most interesting lives, phenomenally interesting lives. And I remember thinking, you could walk past someone and you have no idea what they've gone through in their lives, but we've all got stories. And I think if we see that and maybe not judge people, maybe, if you go to the shop and someone's really rude to you, if they're rude to you all the time, well, that's different. But if they're rude or they're just a bit narky, you don't know what's happened to them in their lives or what they've gone through. So it's about seeing everyone at not just a face value, but seeing that we're all individuals with our own stories, our own journeys, our own challenges, and we're all unique.
Yeah. I heard someone say recently, actually, that an example of being in service is just being kind.
Yes.
And I think that is along the lines of what you're talking about, is recognizing that we all have a story. We've all got experiences that we've been through. So even just to take a moment to be kind and to embrace that possibility that, maybe there's something I can learn from someone or just be interested is a form of being in service. Yeah.
Being interested in someone else just for no other reason than the fact that they are just in your life at that particular point in time or in the same room or wherever, because we've all got really fascinating stories, some more so than others. Yeah,
but we've all got something to offer. Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
Exactly. And kindness, that's very true.
Yeah. As we close out, Marisa, is there any final comments that you would like to, or a summary of message you would like to leave people with?
Yes, I think a message I'd like to leave people with is life is short. And I learnt that from losing my mum when she was very young, that you just make the most of every day, live the life you want to live. And if you need to heal certain areas of your life in order to do that, then just jump into it and do it. because we don't know how much longer we've got on this earth.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And again, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to have the conversation, and really look forward to seeing you soon, but also maybe having you in a conversation like this again another time. So
I'd love to, Sue. Thank you so much. It's been great. It really has been. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well,
you.
to everyone listening, watching the recording, we'll see you another time. Thank you.